I have an engineering degree, but I was just cutting grass for a Nigerian man who owned a lot of properties, student accommodations. He was a landlord just to eat. I thought that I was lucky when he told me that he wanted me to join his brotherhood and I will end up becoming rich. I did not know that I had to lose my dignity and there were other sacrifices so that I can go to Nigeria. I am going to tell you why a lot of people who do money rituals end up buying these expensive cars. It is not about you being classy. There is a reason as to why I drive a G-Wagon most of the times. It is because of the sacrifices and the other people in my family that I have sacrificed. I have a degree in engineering. I followed every rule here in South Africa that I was told ever since I was still a young boy. Both of my parents, they were teachers, and when your parents are teachers, you know that it is all about school, studying and studying. My parents, they trusted the system because the system had worked for them. They wanted me to follow the same template to study. I would study so hard, but even though I passed with distinctions, and yet here I was. I had moved from Durban and I came to Joburg, stayed with my mom's cousin sister who was cold-hearted. I ended up being in Pretoria. I was in Sunnyside and life was just difficult. A university graduate unable to get a job. Wherever I would go to, I was being told that I needed experience first. Without experience, you could not get a job. So I was doing some piece jobs for a lot of people, and then a man hired me, a man that I will call Mr. O. He was a Nigerian national who owned a lot of shops, and they would sell these soccer jerseys and some other fake labeled clothes, and he owned a lot of properties. These properties that he dealt with here in Pretoria, mostly they were your student accommodations, and he was a man that was gentle, he was kind. And when I started working for him, when I did the first piece job, he said that he had trusted me and he wanted me to work for him permanently because he had picked me up by the robot. He wanted someone to cut the grass. Since I knew how to cut the grass, to use the lawnmower, even to trim trees, I had done that before because back in KZN, my other uncle, he was working on the farm, so I would go to that farm during schooling holidays where I used to work for the white man. So he had taught me how to use a home light, so I knew how to trim trees. So this man said that you're going to be working for me forever, permanently, and it was okay that now I had a job, but this job that I had, the money that I was getting paid, it was not a lot. One Tuesday, Mr. O called me to his private property in Waterkloof. It was a massive house with high walls, electric fence. He then said to me, you see that jacaranda tree, it was in the backyard. It was okay, it offered nice shade when it was hot, but it made the yard to be a mess because the purple flowers, they would clog the gutters and the branches, they were scraping against the tile roof. He did not want that to happen. He said that those that were staying there, they would complain. He told me that he wanted that tree to be gone. He had already bought me the machinery that was needed. That was what I was using, and even I would go back home with the chainsaw that he had bought for me. I would do some other piece jobs with it. And he then told me that if I was going to be quick about it, because those people, they were complaining quite a lot, if I could cut that tree within a day, he was going to give me 500 rand, even though I was working for him permanently. If I finished it by sunset, I started cutting and cutting. Brother, around 4 p.m. I was already done. I had brought the branch down. All that was needed the next day was for me to return back to cut and to load onto the trailer because he had one vacuum that we used. Then we would go and we would throw the firewood away. I had already spoken with one person back in the location who said that he wanted the firewood. He was going to sell it to other people that will be having some traditional ceremonies. So I was already organizing. I then returned back home. The next day, I was supposed to go to his other house where I was supposed to go and pick up the keys for the bakkie as well as the bakkie, and then go and pick up the trailer and go and start loading. And when I was waiting for him, because when I arrived, he was not at home, but the securities at that estate, they let me in because they knew me. I had been working for this Nigerian for quite a long time. So at his mansion, he never stayed there. And now I know why. There was this black Mercedes G-Wagon. It was inside the garage. So this garage, like, you can see him through the doors because they have big glass on it. Whilst I was sitting outside just playing with my phone, I just felt something that made me to look into the garage. When I looked into the garage, you won't believe what I saw. I saw a woman that was sitting in the passenger seat. She was dressed like in traditional Nigerian attire. But this woman, there was something that told me that she was not a real human being. She did not move. She did not do anything. By then, I did not know that I was in a vision. I found myself, I was inside the garage, even though the garage door did not even open up. Brother, I literally wanted to run away when I found myself looking at a woman that was just stuck in that car. She was not blinking. She was sitting by the driver's seat and she did not look to the side, did not look at me. By then, the woman was gone. I then collected the keys. When my boss came, I thought that maybe since I used to smoke soul quite a lot, maybe it was one of those episodes where I had hallucinated. I collected the keys, went and picked up the trailer, went and I cut the big branch into several smaller pieces of firewood, and I went with it to the location and I got my money. I kept on having these terrible dreams of me being in that garage and seeing a woman that was dressed in Nigerian traditional attire just sitting there as if she was a zombie. 2 days later, I then went to Mr. O. I wanted to borrow some money from him. I went to his offices. Whilst I was at his office, that was when I could not help myself. I then spoke with him and I said, "Boss, when I was at your house, I saw this woman in the G-Wagon. I think I saw someone. I don't know if it is the Zol that I am smoking." Mr. O stopped whatever that he was doing. He looked at me. He was not even angry. He just looked at me and then he said to me, "Oh, that is my mom. And I sacrificed her 10 years ago to be what I am right now. The fact that you saw her, it means that the gods of the mountains have chosen you. You have been recruited. Do you want to hang out with big boys like me?" It was like a movie when he said this. I thought that he was joking because he used to joke a lot. He told me that this car that was parked in his garage, this was his altar, and it was an altar that he had bought for his mother, because when he did these sacrifices, this was after he had gone to Nigeria. He saw one of his university mates who was driving a G-Wagon, and he did rituals so that he can buy a G-Wagon. So after he had sacrificed his mother's spirit then said, "You sacrificed me because you wanted a car. You have to buy a G-Wagon for me," and he never drives it. And he said that he wanted to take me to his source, which is in Nigeria, to join the same cult, but I was supposed to do something, and the catch was that the gods of the mountains, they do not take someone that has been brought to them through charity. He said to me, "You have to pay for your own journey, even if I go with you." I then asked him, what was I supposed to do, because I wanted to go with him to Nigeria. He said that you have to pay for your own journey. You're going to need money for the flight to go to Nigeria, and you have to buy a flight to go and to come back at the same time. And you need a passport, and you need 11,000 rands for the joining fee. If you can't get that, you will stay poor. But if you get it, you will never ever ask for a price tag again. He told me that this is the life that he lives. When he goes into a shop, he does not even look at a price tag. It does not matter if he is buying a car, if he wants a property. All that he wants to know is, can he get that property? Can he get that car? And I wanted to have this money, just the 11,000, which was the joining fee to join this cult. It felt like it was $1 million. I was a man with a degree, but could not even afford to buy a new pair of boots. For 3 days, I was like going crazy. There I was. I had been told by this man that there was a cult in Nigeria that can make you to become so rich, so much that people that used to know you, they won't even recognize you because of the way that you would have gotten rich. I would look at my engineering diploma, and it was just a piece of paper to me that could not even buy me a loaf of bread. I thought about what this Nigerian man had told to me. I wanted money. I wanted to sleep with the most beautiful women that looked like supermodels. And I had a dream to sleep with a white, beautiful, curvy woman. So I went back to Mr. O, and I told him that indeed I wanted to join this cult, but the only problem that I had was that I did not have the money. He did not even look surprised. He said that he knew that I would never be able to get this money, and he was going to help me. He took a small piece of paper and he wrote a number on it, and he said to me, call this man. He is a lender. He gives big South African men, those that are businessmen, even politicians, money for their businesses. If you sees you, he will like you because he likes educated young men that want to achieve things so quickly. Tell him that Mr. O sent you. That is the first message that you send to him before you even say hi. Otherwise, he will block you immediately. So then I took the phone numbers, and then I spoke with him on WhatsApp. We spoke on the phone. When I heard that this man, he likes educated young South African men, those that want to achieve things quickly, I thought that he was going to give me a job. I did not know what the hell was waiting for me. The man then told me to meet him at a boutique hotel in Centon. Oh, at a hotel, meeting a man. That was weird, but I thought that maybe we were going to have a lunch, talk about it, and everyone go their separate ways. I borrowed clean clothes, to tell you the truth, from a neighbor because I wanted a suit to represent. When I got to the room where he was, the man was sitting by the window. He was South African, well dressed, maybe in his late 50s. He did not ask, this was so strange, about my degree, if I had any business plan like I thought he was supposed to. He just looked at me, and then we started talking, and it was already getting dark. I wanted to ask him if he would help me or not, because I was even worried if I would be able to get a taxi to return back to Pretoria. He then placed a bundle of cash, and it was 200 knots. He said that the money that you want is there. This money, it would cover for the flight tickets to go and to come back, as well as the 11,000, as well as money for me to buy clothes and to have something to eat. And I want you to take this money. I don't want it back with interest. You can get to keep it. And then he dropped the bomb on me. He was like, I want to be the first guy to break you. And I did not understand what he meant by that. And I asked him, and he said, you're still a virgin. I want you to be the first one to break your virginity. I still did not understand. That was when he told me that he wanted to sleep with me, for he was gay. Yo, Brother Nashi, I don't know what to say, but for the sake of money, even though when I started crying, I was thinking about the money that was on the table. I had never seen so much money in my life. I started crying whilst I was sitting on the bed. He then came to me and he gave me the money, and he said that it was going to be over very soon. Less than 5 minutes, he would have given me the money. Then he did it to me. The pain that landed on my bums when he started inserting his manhood back there, I have no way to explain it to you. This was the most painful thing, because from the time when he told me about this, he slept with me at 3 a.m. because it was so painful, the most painful that I had ever experienced physically. He ripped me out, and then the next morning I struggled to walk, and he had a car that came to fetch me, and it returned me to Pretoria from Joburg. When I had rested, that was when I went to the Home Affairs office and I applied for a fast-track passport, and the flights were booked to Lagos. I really did not care. I just wanted money. I wanted to become rich so that no man will ever take advantage of me. I went to Mr. O's house. We stayed there, and then we went to the airport and we went to Lagos. When we were in Lagos, we stayed for a couple of days. We did not stay that long, and then we drove for hours into the southern part of Nigeria. We drove and we drove until I grew tired, and then we arrived in this other old village, and then we met the cult leader. This man, he was just a small man, but the way that he was so scary, it was as if a giant was standing in front of you. He was a full-grown man, but he was so small, like his head only reached my waist, and this man was so scary to look at. I was then told that I had to do a sacrifice to write the names of those that I loved. I wrote my mother's name, who became my sacrifice. I was taken into the mountains where I was bathed, where I was told to spit on a cross that had the statue of Jesus Christ. And after spitting on that, forgive me for saying this, but I had to play with my manhood, and semen had to fall on the cross. That is what I did. This was the last ritual, the most painful ritual, when I was beaten by that small man who was the cult leader. He beat me up until there was blood that was coming out. This lasted almost all night when I was being beaten, and I was told that this was a way of me sacrificing. I then flew to South Africa. There were several rules that were given to me. I left Mr. O in Nigeria. I came back, and people on the plane, they did not even know that I was returning back from Nigeria from doing money rituals. When I landed in Joburg, there was a car that came and picked me up. It was a Nigerian guy who told me that everything was going to be okay. He also did the same rituals, and these rituals that he did, they were more painful than what I had to go through. He also knew that I had slept with a man in order for me to go to Nigeria. He said that he respects me for the decisions that I had taken. And then I started working. When I started to work, I was then told that I had to register a company, and working, I was just supposed to get some money to start a business, because that money that I would get after I would have started working, it was going to be a seed that I would be planting in the ground. And in order for me to get this money, I was supposed to work. So I was not making a lot of money when I got a job at Tiger Brands through my sister, who had been working there. When there was a job opening at Tiger Brands, I went there and I was working in the packaging department. The money that I was making, it was not a lot, but this was the seed that was needed. And then the company that I had already started, it had a profile. Whilst I was working there at Tiger Brands, there was some oil that I had brought with me from Nigeria. This oil, I would use it when I was at work. I would steal the good luck of the people that I was working with. At night, they would have a dream. They would be walking towards a house and they would be holding gold. This gold, it is a spiritual gift that you are born with. And if you ever have a dream where you are giving someone gold, it means that there is someone that is in the process of stealing the gift that you were born with. And they all had the same dream. They would come to this other house and they would leave their gold. So these were the people that I was using so that I can have good luck. I then got a tender, and this tender that I started winning, there were tenders for everything, really: cleaning, security, logistics. That was when I moved into the mansion. At first, I was renting out. People in the family, they started dying. Every time when someone would have died in the family, soon after the funeral, I will make sure that I would have bought a very beautiful car so that when we return back to KZN for a memorial, I'll be driving a brand new car. My rituals is that I have to spend money as if I am a madman, because I have to. And when I am in a club, I have to spend so much money, so much that everyone would be looking at. I can buy clothes that I can only wear once, and I burn the clothes. And these are clothes that are so expensive. If I stop showing off, if I try to be humble, or there are those Christians that are rich, but they will never show off their wealth. They always stay humble. If I do something like that, there is a snake that appears that will threaten to kill me. I have to drive a very beautiful car like a G-Wagon, expensive vehicles, to show the world that I have money. And I remember the oath that I took. I have to remember it, to spit on the poor. If I see someone that is very poor, I spit on that person. When I go to the mall, there are those poor guys that are car guards. And what I do is, when I want to give someone maybe $5 after looking after my vehicle, when I am done shopping, when I am walking out of the shopping complex, I spit on the money, literally spitting either on 10, 20 rand on a coin, and then I give it to that person. I'll just say, oh, I've been sweating quite a lot. Here is some money. Whilst my spit is on the saliva. And this is how I take the good luck from people. I used to do it when I was working at Tiger Brands. Before I was really rich, I would also spit on the money that I would give to my workmates. If someone will say, yo, today I don't have money for transport, and I always had money on me, I would spit on the money and I would give it to that person. They won't even know that I have done this. This is the most important rule that I have to follow. When you post, you will tell me. I will be there in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Let us talk about this. If you have done any rituals, do not hesitate to bring those stories. If you are a Satanist, a witch, if you have done something evil, bring those stories. We won't judge you. We will read them as you would have sent them to us. We'll meet again in the following episode.